Hey Pete, good to see you. Today we have the hidden and not so hidden fees, penalties, and taxes in retirement. It's not easy to determine what you'll need to live on in retirement, and that calculation is made even more difficult because there can be a few surprise expenses and some penalties that can last a lifetime. So we're breaking down those hidden costs in order of severity. Let's start with the IRMAA penalty, Pete. What do we need to know?
Right, the IRMA penalty. IRMA stands for income-related monthly adjustment amount, and this is what we base your Medicare premiums for Part B on. And as you can see, as your income goes up, those premiums go up quite substantially. For
Mhm.
individuals, most people are familiar with $164 a month. Singles under $97,000, you're going to pay that amount. Married couples 194, but as you can see, those premiums go up quite substantially as your income goes up.
And those are monthly, so that's important to remember.
Yes, it is monthly. It's huge. It's huge. And remember, it's based on your modified adjusted gross income, which is higher than your adjusted gross income because they're going
Mhm.
to add in your deductible income on there.
Mhm. All right,
There,
now let's talk about the Medicare Part B and D penalty. This is something you really need to keep in mind, right?
yes, the Medicare Part B and D penalty is huge because it lasts for a lifetime. So the importance is that when you turn 65, 3 months prior, you have to apply for Medicare. Even though you may not be taking the insurance at that time, you need to apply at your age 65 because if you wait to 67, you're going to pay a penalty, and that
Mhm.
penalty is for your lifetime. So very
Mhm.
important to file at 65.
Exactly. All right, next, let's talk about inflation. I mean, this has been a headline for so long. I was surprised to learn, though, that 42% of people have never calculated what they'll need to live on in retirement. And of those people who do, we rarely account for inflation, but this is something we have to be aware of.
Yeah, absolutely. Most people listening to this video remember the inflation of the 70s and early 80s. Our kids, on the other hand, until recently, they had no idea what inflation is. But inflation is starting to come down from the peak of a year ago.
Mhm.
But when you look and you think about inflation, you mentioned that 42% of people don't calculate what they need to retire, let alone the impact inflation has on those who are retired and are not saving anymore. When prices go up, we're spending more each month to make our ends meet.
Right.
And the loss of purchasing power when you're retired is devastating if you're on a fixed income. So while retirement planning comes in, we're doing a lot of income planning, and we always inflate those expenses out going into the future. And if inflation that they experience in retirement isn't as high as we anticipated, well, it just means that their assets are going to last longer.
Mhm. Mhm.
So income planning with inflation is very, very important.
Very important. Also, of course, and I know this is something you specialize in, Pete, taxes, right? They can be a huge expense in retirement without proper planning, especially if you have no tax-free money to tap.
Yes, absolutely. There's an old song verse that says, "I wish I that I know." Excuse me. Let me start over. I wish that I knew what I know now when I was younger. So
Right.
if I could go back in time, I would allocate my retirement savings differently. Not asset allocation, but tax allocation. I would have a tax deferred account, which is our 403bs, 401ks, IRAs, Roth IRAs. We love them tax free, and non qualified investments. And what you have with a non qualified investment is after tax investments. And when you're retired, you have favorable capital gains tax. Married couples are not going to pay capital gains taxes until they have over $110,000 of income. So when you have each non-qualified, qualified money, and tax-free money, it blends your income and it controls your taxes. Very important that you have those structures set up for retirement.
Right. And again, it comes back to proactive planning, which is why having that conversation sooner than later is always best. So, Pete, if somebody does want to talk this through with you, any of these hidden fees, what's the best way to reach you?
Absolutely. 847-499-3342 is my direct line. Uh, Give me a call, send me an email at pete@conwaytag.com. We'd love to talk with you.
All right, perfect. Pete, thank you.
Thanks, sir. Bye bye.